Good morning, YouTube. This is Lisa with Lisa Lives Life, and you can probably, in a couple of minutes here, hear my birds screaming and freaking out and talking and squalling in the background. So let's try to ignore them if we can. But I wanted to show you a little bit about art journaling today. These are a couple that I have that are from Diane Reevely's Dylusions line, and I absolutely love them. You can use them as a calendar, traveling notebook kind of thing. I use them for practically everything. Practicing how to do the stuff is the main thing. I've tried to use them sort of as a diary, but I haven't gotten very far with that. But they're a lot of fun. Anyway, I thought that I would show you one today and show you kind of where start with this sort of thing. So this is one of the inserts on these smaller journals. This is a blank page one. And you just find yourself a page. And I think what I'm going to work with today will be her sprays rather than the paints. They're both wonderful, but I really, really, really like doing the sprays inside of these particular little notebooks. So I picked out a few colors. I've got a green, let's see, this one is called, yes, Fresh Lime, Funky Fuchsia, and Pure Sunshine are these three. Now you want to make sure that you've got colors that aren't necessarily going to make mud, and I think I've done okay in that respect. The next thing you want to do is protect your area, because these sprays are notorious for kind of going Pachamaquoddy and just sort of spraying every which way sometimes, which can be kind of fun. And I like to save these papers that I put inside the book to protect things, because I can use those to cut things out of and make other pages. And the main thing with art journaling, you guys, is it's supposed to be fun. You never have to show this to anybody. This is just your place to play, to try new products that you just bought or never have used before. Man, those birds really are being loud. Sorry about that. So, you know, anything goes. And these are one way of doing it. You can get yourself like a hardback book with glossy pages, and just take some gesso, put gesso over the pages to give yourself a surface, and just go to town in one of those. I've done that quite a bit. You don't have to buy anything expensive. You can use whatever materials you have on hand and just play. So, okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to spray some ink on the page, just kind of random. And we'll see what happens. Now, there are as many ways to do an art journal page as there are art journalers, as you can imagine. I myself am kind of one of those sort of, I don't necessarily have to have things exactly the same on both sides, but I do like a bit of symmetry, so I'll admit to that. So the next thing we're going to do here, this is very wet, is I take a roll of paper towels and just go across and just kind of blot that dry. Now, here's one thing about Dylusions products. They are water-based and they are not made to be permanent. So I could make this page and then come in weeks from now and just decide I want to add something to it. And I can. And this color will all move. It's really, really fun to work with, and you know, just remember that if water hits this, it's going to move. The color is going to run. You're going to get spots, which you can use to your advantage when you're doing an art journal page. So I'm going to add a little bit of the shimmer spray now in a kind of these areas where it's not exactly filled in with the color. I don't want to add too much because it can really take over. And I want to be able to see. This is just the background. I want to be able to see what's going on the rest of the page. So I think I'm going to stick with that for a bit. Now, one of the things I want to show you that you can do, I've got this Dispress sprayer, which is really cool. You can use any kind of a sprayer with water in it, but this one is kind of neat because you can sort of push this part of the way and the water will kind of splurch out in little drops. Might not be easy to see, or you could push it all the way and get an actual spray, but I kind of like to put little drops on the page. And you can also do that by like spraying your fingers and going bloop. Okay, and then take your paper towel roll again, roll it, and you've got some really cool little splotches. Now how cool is that? So, okay, neat. If that works, what about putting a stencil on here? Interesting, huh? So I think I will take my lightest color. I'm going to put down this stencil just kind of wherever. I think I'll take my lightest color, which is the orange. And, oh, I'm sorry, no, I'm going to use the water for this now that I think about it. I am just going to spray over the stencil. Pretty good. And then kind of go over it with my paper towel. Lift the stencil and do that again. Yeah, didn't work so great that time. Maybe I'll just try, oh, and then you can go on another page and sort of blot that off, your color. That way you don't waste much ink. Let's try it again. Let me just get a different stencil. Sometimes these letters are a little hard to work with. Let it dry pretty well again. I'll try it one more time. I may need to dry the page a little bit first before I can do that, but let's give this a shot and see what happens. I'm going to spray some water on here. And remove the stencil and dry. Yeah, we got some circles. Cool. I think I'll put some down here as well. Make sure you've got yourself some pretty good soap after working with these, because you do get it everywhere, all over your fingers, but you know, the good news is it washes out pretty well. So I like to turn my page, find another page, and just kind of blot off my stencil and incorporate those blots into the part of another background some other day. So not much on that one, but you never know. So here we go. Okay, now before we do anything else, I'm going to dry this a little bit with my dryer. Looks like a hair dryer. This is a Ranger Heat It tool. Looks like a hair dryer, but it's much, much hotter than that. You would not want to dry your hair with this thing, but it puts out a very concentrated heat. It's a nice little size. You can kind of always keep it plugged in off to the side of your bench. And there we go. It feels pretty dry enough for what we want to do next. So another thing that's a lot of fun to do on these is stamping. I've got a couple stamps here. I thought I'd do some background sort of stamping. So this is a Dylusions stamp. These are acrylic stamps, and what you do with these is pull them off and put them onto an acrylic block like this. So I think I'm going to take this big one here just for grins and giggles. And I'm going to use Ranger Archival ink in black for this particular thing. It's kind of my go-to. And just put it on there. Here's my ink. And this is the best way to ink up your stamps, is just tap your ink on that way. And then mash it down. There you go. So let's do another little piece of this one, maybe over here. And I kind of like the bits of things to overlap onto the other page when at all possible. It's just kind of fun that way. It sort of brings your spread together. Let's see. What else have we got? Maybe one of these. would be kind of fun. Okay. These acrylic stamps can be so detailed or so very simple. It's just, I have some that look like drawings. I have some that look like just absolute works of art, and some that are just nothing more than basic shapes. Put that there. And I'm being very sloppy, kind of on purpose, but kind of also because I'm sort of in a hurry. I don't want this video to take forever. So that kind of gives you an idea what you can do with stamps. And then you could maybe go around and add some other sort of background type things. I'm going to take, what have I got here? I'm just going to take a Sharpie, I think, and just kind of draw on sort of a little, you know, and I like to kind of go in and make a little, just doodle. I mean, whatever comes to mind. This is your page. There's no right or wrong. Nobody ever has to see it. But of course, if you're proud of it, by all means, show it off, of course. Honestly, with me, I never know what I'm going to be doing when I start one. I kind of have an idea, like for this one, I kind of know what I'm going to do, but I have no idea how it's going to turn out, you know. And that's the fun of it. That's why it's such a therapeutic process. It really takes you away from all of the crap you're worrying about going on in your life, and all you've got to think about is, what color should I put on here next, you know? And I mean, that's neat. Maybe a little more up here. And again, I'm kind of whizzing through this one, but I just want to give you the general idea. And instead of you sitting here watching me play, you guys go and get your materials and play yourselves. So the next thing I'm going to take here is, I've got some of these, they call them Dylusions die cuts. And these are some of her little characters that she has. You can get them just white with black lines so that you can color them yourself, or you can go ahead and get these ones that are already colored in and use those in your projects. And I was going to take these two and kind of make them look like they're good friends, even though it's a cat and a dog. So I was going to kind of cuddle them up like this, maybe. Yeah. And honestly, for my purposes, the best thing to use is just a plain old glue stick. I mean, they dry quickly. They don't take a whole lot of time. They're cheap, inexpensive. Oops, that one's used up, but I've got more. My favorite ones, honestly, are the ones made by, I think they're made by Ranger. Or no, I'm sorry, not Ranger. They're made by Recollections, which is Michael's brand. I really like those. They're specifically made for mixed media projects. So they're used to gluing things like string and ribbon and paper and all kinds of stuff together. I think I'm going to cuddle her up like that. So this is so fun, you guys. I've been not stuck, I shouldn't say stuck, but I have been making wreaths for the holidays, and I have gotten so many orders and so many people who want them, and I have just been doing nothing but making wreaths like for the past 2 weeks. And today I was like, okay, I am going to figure out how the heck to do a little video, because I haven't done that yet. I wish you could see like my setup that I have going on here, because it is so well, it's just something. Let's just say that. Maybe someday I'll have a more professional setup, but I am truly just an amateur. I just really want to just play around with all this. So another thing I've got from Dylusions is some of her quotes here. And the one that I picked up was, "Sorry, but the cat and I have plans for the evening," which is why that goes with the dog and the cat. So this one is just a peel off. There are stamps that have words and phrases on them, which you can stamp on the page, or you could stamp it on a piece of paper and then cut around it and maybe put a little piece of dimensional tape so that they'll pop up, you know, that kind of thing. I'm going to put this over here. Maybe I'll put it here so you can see it better. Yeah. And oh, here's kind of a funny idea. I've got some little bird ones. Maybe I'll put one of the birds up here on this thing looking down at him, like, you know, the bird came over to see if they wanted to hang out, and the dog's like, "No, dude, the cat and I have plans." So I think this one right here would fit that purpose. Let's see. He's looking down at him. And let's get him all inked up. I love her characters and her... She's just so whimsical and colorful. And as a person, Diane Reevely just seems to be so awesome. I would love to meet her in person one day and take one of her classes. I just have such a fangirl crush on her. Well, you can't see my little bird very well. So I'm wondering, since this particular stuff is water-based, I wonder if I take a water brush and a paper towel and just kind of go around inside of the bird, if the water might get lighter. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work or not. It's just a thought that just kind of went through my head. Let me dry it really well, because now that ink is waterproof, but of course the spray behind it is not. So let's see. Let's see what happens. I wonder, and you guys are going to find out with me here. No, I guess it's really not. Oh, here we go. Yeah. I didn't have any water in the brush. That helps a little bit. I'll just keep that water brush clean. And the other thing you can do is go around with a white pen or a white pencil. But you want to make sure to do that when things are really super dry, for the most part. That's probably about all the lighter I'm going to get with that guy. But let me see if I've got one. I think I might have like there's a white pen, like a gel pen put out by Ranger. This is a white opaque pen. Let's see what happens with this guy. I don't know. Oh yeah, here we go. And again, you probably want to dry that off some. And yeah, I think I better dry that off some. The ink will soak in when it's kind of wet. You may have to come back and do some more layers of it. But I just want to give y'all a general sort of idea of what you can do. Just sort of go around and outline your little bird there. And the inverse is also true. If you have a light background and you want your picture to pop like this, you could go around it with like some pencil. Let me grab a graphic pencil here. And we'll see if this works. Oops. You can just kind of smudge it. And just kind of draw an outline. I'll just do this one side just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. And see how it just sort of smudges. Now, I'm one of those people who I love using my fingers with my art. I love getting my hands in there and getting them dirty. So, that's just me. So yeah, just go in and kind of trace around all the little beats, and that'll help sort of define things for you. So that's really all I'm going to do on this one. There's a whole lot more that can be done, but my video is already 20 minutes long, and I don't want to make it much longer. So thank you for stopping by, and thank you for hanging in with me this long, and thank you for not completely turning it off in the middle because of all the background noise and my very amateurish attempts to make a video. You guys are great. I'd appreciate a thumbs up. I would love it if you would subscribe. If you have any friends who might enjoy what I'm doing here, tell them to come on over. And when I get to 100 subscribers, I am going to have a giveaway. So that's my goal. You know, 100 subscribers would just be so freaking cool. So thanks, you guys. Keep creating. Bye-bye.